Are we actually living in the present moment? Or are we always slightly behind reality? Welcome. Today's episode starts with a strange question that sounds simple, but quickly gets weird. Some people say we live about 0.3 seconds in the past. At first, that sounds dramatic, almost philosophical. But when you look at how the brain works, the idea becomes surprisingly plausible. Because the brain doesn't receive the world all at once. Sight arrives a little late. Sound arrives faster. Touch sits somewhere in between. Each signal takes its own path through the nervous system. So the brain does something clever. It waits a tiny moment, gathers the signals, then stitches them together into a single experience. That stitched package becomes what we call now. So the present moment might not be a razor-thin instant. It might be a tiny window of time, roughly a couple hundred milliseconds, small enough that we never notice, but big enough that technically, what we experience is already slightly behind the real event. Think of it like film. Movies look like smooth motion, but they're actually a sequence of still frames. Our brain does something similar. Reality arrives in fragments. The brain edits them into a continuous story. And that story feels like the present moment. But here's where things get even more interesting. A lot of modern advice tells us to live in the now. You hear it everywhere. Be present. Stay in the moment. Focus on the now. But if the brain itself is assembling the present from slightly delayed signals, then the now we talk about might already be a constructed experience. Not fake, but built. Almost like a small mental stage where the brain plays the latest scene. And that leads to another question. If the brain constructs the present, what builds our sense of time? A big part of the answer is memory. Because the brain doesn't measure time the way a clock does. Instead, it links moments together. One memory, then another, then another. Memory 1, memory 2, memory 3. That chain gives us the feeling of a timeline. Break the chain, and time starts to fall apart. Imagine a person who can experience the world normally in the moment. They can feel emotions, they can talk, they can react. But the brain can't store new memories. So each experience fades before it can join the chain. In that case, something strange happens. The person still lives through moments. But those moments don't connect into a story. The timeline never forms. From the outside, time continues normally. But from the inside, life might feel like constantly landing on a fresh page, almost like waking up again and again. This idea raises another strange possibility. If someone can't form new memories, could they experience happiness again and again as if it were the first time? Or pain again and again as if it were always new? The answer isn't simple. Because even when memory fails, something else often remains. Emotion. The brain can forget an event, but the body sometimes keeps the feeling. You might not remember why something felt bad. Yet the next time you encounter it, something inside you hesitates. Almost like the body whispers. Something about this doesn't feel right. So memory isn't the only layer of experience. There are deeper traces, emotions, habits, instincts, which leads to a bigger realization. Our sense of time is not just about clocks. It's about how the brain records experience. And that also explains another everyday mystery. Why does childhood feel so long? While adult life seems to race forward, the clock didn't speed up, but the brain records fewer new moments. Children are constantly encountering things for the first time. New places, new feelings, new discoveries. The brain records more events. More events means more mental landmarks. And when we look back later, the period feels long and full. Adults, on the other hand, often repeat routines, same roads, same work, same patterns. The brain saves less information. And when fewer memories form, time feels like it shrinks. Years pass faster. Not because time changed, but because the brain recorded less of it. So maybe time, as we experience it, is not a smooth river flowing outside us. Maybe it's more like a path we build behind us. One memory at a time, one moment at a time. And the present? That mysterious now everyone talks about? It might not be a perfect instant. It might be something the brain is constantly assembling. A tiny moving window, a stitched scene, a short film made from signals that already happened. Which leaves us with one last thought. If our experience of time depends on memory, and if the present is always slightly reconstructed, then maybe our lives are not just lived in time. Maybe they are edited into time by the brain itself. And the real question becomes, how much of reality are we actually experiencing? And how much of it is the brain quietly assembling for us, frame by frame?